Hey everyone, welcome back to second part of this weekly session, also known as part B. So as a recap, previous part we talked about an upgraded version of the credibility scoring function. So let me take your attention to this repository. This is a template repo. That's the repo that I have been using. The URL is github.com yiqiao-yin. This is a template repo. So as a reminder, this repository or this URL is publicly available in the sense that anyone can go on here, clean these folders and have access to what's inside of it. So for example, you click in projects, it will take you to project one, project two. Right now we are in project one. So click on that folder. And then we talked about deliverable one. You guys already submitted that yesterday. And this week we'll talk about deliverable two. So the goal is to get you guys some more tools so that you guys can build upon what you have already delivered, right? So hence deliverable one, deliverable two. If you click in deliverable two, you're going to see the Python script that's in here. We talked about this class object called URL Validator. It will have a couple of different init and different models, different helper functions in here as methods. And then in the end, it will have the final function to call upon to basically grade your URL, right? Rate URL validity. Okay. And in the end, you can just see that it returns this nice dictionary or JSON object. When I say JSON object, I'm talking about this curly bracket. And that it has a couple of things, right? Raw score, if you're curious about the numerical information, the star, right? The icons, things like that. And then I also have like a sentence here that explains what's going on based on the score. So all these are up online. You can just go on this URL, you can check it out. As a reminder, you are feel free to do whatever you want as long as it makes sense. If your own, shall I say, imagination or creativity kicks in, please feel free to follow that, right? What I'm talking about in the class videos, right, in these recordings are kind of like a bare minimum, or kind of like the minimum bar, right? Meaning that if you have nowhere to go, if you have no clue what to do with these projects, certainly you can serve this video as kind of like the most basic steps, right? Hopefully, the content of these videos can serve that purpose, right? So that's what I'm trying to say. It's not a must. It's kind of like a minimum bar sort of thing. So with that being said, that's a recap. Now, the natural question arises from this function. This is a class object, right? Meaning that this script here just define what the algorithm is in this class object. We haven't really seen how to display this or how to build the infrastructure, how to build the facility for other people to interact with this class object, right? So that's the problem, right? That's the next question that you're gonna have, right? After you write a function, what is it that you can do to have other people use it, right? So in other words, we are trying to create this microscopic universe such that we can send this function in production so that other people on the internet can also use it without having to set up their own GitHub, without having to, you know, do their own Python programming, things like that, right? Which means we need to get this in production. We need to build some sort of app so that the user just need to enter something, and then they can kind of get a sense of what this class object is doing, right? So that is the goal for this part of the video. And the way to do that is we're going to tap into this package called Streamlit, right? So let me take you to this website. This is called streamlit.io. And again, it's called streamlit.io. This website, it's essentially a package that it's built by Python. Right? In other words, you can use Python It's a scripting language, main programming language, and for backend developer. But now you can use it to develop front-end apps, right? So it's essentially a tool to help you get past some of the roadblocks of front-end language or front-end setup. So it's a pretty efficient way to showcase what you have done by simply using Python, and that's all. So if you already know Streamlit, obviously this video, feel free to skip it. We're going to be talking about a couple of basic things in Streamlit and how to throw it up on Hugging Face so that other people can use it, right? If you already know that, of course, feel free to skip that. If this is the first time that you're doing this, obviously, please pay attention, right? So that's why we're here. And then hopefully in the rest of the video, I can kind of show you a couple of basic things to build your own application. And then hopefully we can set up some sort of web-based application to get this class object in there. So with that being said, the first thing I'm going to do is go to Hugging Face. For example, this is a test one. This is my app that I just did. Nothing's really happening here. Literally just says one line, right? This is my new app. What I'm going to do is I am going to go to the top right corner here, and then I'm going to click on this username icon, and I'm going to say new space. So you're going to see this. This is essentially telling you that, hey, you can create your own space. It's very much like a GitHub repository. In the sense that it will hold the code, but the code here is obviously the code for the apps, right? And then it will actually run it for you in a virtual environment. And then you can actually have users see that and use that online with a unique URL. Right? So let me start by saying, defining the name to be test2. And then the description here, I am going to say this is a test demo app. That's pretty much it. For the time being, licensed, you can just leave it like that. Typically, we use MIT, but you can just leave it blank for now. In terms of space SDK, this means software development kit, right? So we are using Streamlit, so we're clicking on the first button. After that, you can leave all this as it is, as a default setup. Obviously, free is the best way to go as of now. So let's go with that. Public, meaning that other people can see it, right? And then you can say create space. Okay, so once the space is created, you're gonna see something like this, right? This means it's empty. Nothing's really happening here, and they have a couple of things here to teach you how to get things started. The commit and push, it's pretty much the same as Git on GitHub. So this is the same as before. We're not gonna dive too deep into this. The only thing different is when you do this the first time, it might prompt for a password, right? So let's try this out. So I'm gonna highlight this git clone syntax here that it showed me, right? Copy, and then I'm gonna go to a Colab environment. So this is the credibility score version 2 notebook that I used on Colab before. I'm just going to use this as an example, right? So you can say folder. Here it just has a sample data right now, but not to worry, right? What we're going to do is we are going to clone it. So we're going to say right click, paste, and then boom, there you go. It will clone this down to the local environment. And on the left-hand side, you can refresh and you see this folder. Now this folder is, of course, currently blank. You can look at the README, and then for the time being, you don't have to touch this at all. So you can just leave that as a blank, don't touch that, and nothing else is happening. First thing we need to do is new file, and then we're gonna say requirements.text. I'll make sure you don't have typo, right? This has to be requirements.text, right? The requirements has an S behind it. The text is txt, right? So this name has to be called that. So you double click on this, it will open up a blank file. Here we're going to type in the package Streamlit. And that's it, right? Please save. So This means that when the VM, the virtual machine, is going to install the artifact of this app, it's going to look for requirements file. It's going to see, oh yeah, there's a Streamlit package here that I need to install before I run anything. And this package pretty much help us set it up, right? If you need to use Streamlit, obviously we write it here. So that's requirements. And then the next thing is to create an actual app file, app.py. So this is a standard Python script. You can use Python here. So first things first, I'm going to say from Streamlit or import Streamlit as st. And then I'm going to say st.write. Maybe I say this is my first app. And then I can probably even type in some sort of title, right? st.write. This is hashtag means I'm going on above a level, right? Hashtag 1 means level 1. So this is level 1 title column app, something like that. So nothing's really happening, literally just 2 lines of code that I want to type something out, right? There's a title and there's a sentence. So that's pretty much it for now. What I'm going to do right now is I am going to push this to the cloud. And the way to do that is I need a token, right? Because as instructed, if it's the first time you're doing that, obviously it will require a password, and then you need to use the token, right? If you don't have a token, which I don't think so, because previous video we talked about that you need to have a token to run the credibility score function. So if you have already done the submission, you should know that you have a token somewhere in your computer. For me, I like to keep things simple. So for me, I use Google Secrets, and my token's up here, HF token. So that's how I save it. And then, of course, you save it however you want, right? So so I copy my tokens, I'm ready to go. Now I can then go into this repository by cd test2. That means change directory test2. And then let me do a ls, right? So all these artifacts are here. We have a Python script, we have a README file, we have a requirements file controlling the package. So I think we are all set for the first commit. So here what I'm going to do is git add dot. That means adding everything. Git commit. I'm going to say this is my first commit. And then we're going to say git push. I believe it's going to ask for username and password, just like that. So username, I'm going to type in my username. And then password, I'm going to use this token. So copy this token on the left-hand side. And then right-click, paste as plain text. There we go. Okay. So I think what I did here that's different is I use Control-Shift-V. And then I need to make sure that I configure it with my email. Which I did up here. So yeah, that took a bunch of detour, but I think eventually I figured it out, which is to use this way. So if you have this configured locally, hopefully that'll be easier, and you only need to do that once. But if you do this on Colab, since Colab give you a new session every time, you might have to do this every time. So that could be annoying. The alternative is to do it locally, so you don't have to do this again. But do it locally requires you to set up VS Code, things like that, which could be also annoying. So kind of depending on your own personal taste, which is more annoying. But I think this is one of the basic things that you have to get past. So once you have this code pushed to the Hugging Face, you can then go to our repository on Hugging Face, and boom, there you go. You see level 1 title app. This is my first app. So this is pretty much set up, right? You can run this, and then you can go to files. These are the files that we just committed, right? So we have app.py, nothing's really happening here, literally 2 lines of code. So this is consistent with what we just saw here on app.py. So that makes perfect sense to me. So now let's go back to app, and then guess what? This URL, right? huggingface.co/spaces/ your username /test2. This is a live web-based application that you can basically give it to other people and so that they can look at what is it that you are developing. Right now, nothing's happening here, just 2 lines of code, 2 lines of sentences. But when the function is up here, that's how you can have a user interact with it. So let me show you the Colab again, and then now let me see if we can get this code in there, right? So um, first things first is we need to basically grab this entire function into app.py, right? So we can just copy this entire thing, right? And then we can then go to Streamlit. Literally what I'm going to do is just paste it here, and I'm going to say save. So these are all the imports. These are the class object, and then you have a bunch of things here that's returning. So right now we are just defining this class object, right? Not even that, like we have package here that we have not putting the requirements. So we need to take care of that. And another thing here, it's this API key that also is not defined, right? Nowhere above here define API key. So obviously that's another problem. So we're gonna go ahead and fix those things before we commit this. So let's make sure first thing to do is let's make sure the requirement file is complete. So what I'm going to do is go to my chatbot here, right? We have this class object. So I'm going to do is copy this and then say regarding this Python function below, I'm going to paste the function below, write a requirements.txt file for me. So I'm just going to ask that question, and then it will write a file for me. Nothing, not whole lot of things going on here. We are really just type out the package one by one. That's kind of it. So copy that. Let's go to our Colab. Let's put it here. Boom. I think we're done with that. Now this app.py should be able to run once that's all installed. Whatever bug that we saw, we're gonna have to debug that, but that comes after. Now next thing is this part, right? So what I'm gonna do is I am going to copy this code up here, and then I'm gonna go to my ChatGPT, and I'm gonna say I have the following code. I want to define it in Streamlit application, and the SERP API key needs to be updated using OS package get in. Update the code form. So this way, the ChatGPT will know that this particular line of code need to be changed, right? So hopefully it tells us what that is, and it says os.getIn. That's kind of what we want, right? So let's grab that os.getIn, and then we can then go to our Streamlit. I'll just memorize it. Let's see. So here, what I'm going to say is os.getIn parentheses and then a quotation mark. Okay, so this gives us an updated lines of code using OS. That means operating system. We should of course import that, right? So here, import OS. Let's make sure not to forget that, right? So let's write it here, import OS. Okay, so OS is imported. That means we have getIn method in here. And then this SERP API means we have to do something in Hugging Face, but we will do that coming after. So once we have this class object defined, now we need to invoke it, right? We have not invoked it yet. This is kind of just like a plain function here that's not doing much. In order to invoke this, what we're going to do right now is we need a couple of placeholder for user to enter something, right? Like for example, prompt, right? User need to enter something. URL, user need to enter something, right? So let's figure out what that look like, right? So first thing is let me show you guys an easy way. So what I'm going to do is I am going to just copy this entire chunk of code, and I'm going to go to ChatGPT. I'm going to say, here's my Python code to invoke the class object in a Jupyter notebook column, and then you just paste the code in there. Now I want to run this in a Streamlit application. I want user to enter text for whatever these things are, right? User prompt, right? So user prompt, and then the URL, right? And URL. So write Streamlit code for me to allow user to enter text. Then the Streamlit app will run the class object and display the JSON object on the app. So enter, let's see what it gives us. I don't need much. Now, hopefully it just gives us a code for the app, and then I'll be good to go, right? So here, obviously, we're going to override some of this. This load.inf, you don't need that on Hugging Face. On Hugging Face is taken care of by the OS package. You don't need that. You only need that when you are doing this locally. So that you can kind of skip. Title, it's whatever you want, right? That's the name of your app. User input here, it says text area and text input. Great, that's fine. We're going to grab all that. And then it says here there's a button. It says a button means you can click on something, right? That's great. So button, click on something, and then you run it, and then you will print out the JSON file. So this is perfect. I can just grab everything below here, copy, and then I'm going to go to my app.py. And then I'm just going to paste it down here, right? So user enter something here, URL, user means need to enter something here. There's a button here. You press on the button, it will basically check that it's a string, and then it will run the validator, rate it, and whatever result come out, it will display it. So I think all that makes sense to me. Let's see if this goes into some sort of bug. But I think for now, all that makes sense to me. And then the last thing we need is go to terminal, and then let's commit all of this, right? So let's clean this up. Git add dot, that means add everything. Git commit, first commit of app, and git push. And oh boy, I need to do this again. Equals 0504. My secret is here. Okay. Good. Okay, so now commit. Boom, I think we are done. This now says building. That makes sense because there are a bunch of things here that need to be built. And then one caveat is I need to do something because I know this is not going to work. It's this part, right? The SERP API, I have not thrown that in, right? I have not thrown that in. What I need to do is I need to go to my Colab secrets and grab the SERP API key, right? So I need to go back to Hugging Face, and then I need to go to setting, and in the setting, I can put in the API key. So let me scroll down to secrets and variables, and then you need to say new secret. If you say new variable, everyone will see it. That's not good. But if you say new secret, obviously it stays private. So click on that. And then the key, I'm going to paste it down here. And then the name is going to be called serve API key, right? So I'm going to paste it here. And then I'm going to drag it. I'm going to do this outside of the sharing screen area, and I'm going to come back. Okay, I just created this key, and once you create it, it will stay here and stay hidden, right? No one can see it because it's hidden, it's private. So now let me go back to my app, and then let's see what's going on. So this is the logs of the virtual environment, and as you can see here, it's trying to download a bunch of things, right? Exactly what is it trying to download is dependent on what it is in your requirements.txt file. So if I have a bunch of things here, then that's what it's going to download. So You're gonna want to stay on this just to see there's no bugs. Or that if there's bugs, you can kind of see what's going on, right? You don't want this to crash without knowing what's going on. So the next few minutes, we are going to just stare at this and then see what pops up, see if there's any error. Okay, so I think they finished installing. Right now, it's a matter of building the image and push the image onto the cloud on Hugging Face. Now it says application startup. You can close this window now. It says restarting. So hopefully this is gonna finish installing soon. And we're gonna see if we have any bugs on this application. And oh, by the way, just a reminder, these files you can of course create this on the spot on the cloud, right? The difference is if you create these files on the spot, like for example, you can say add file, you can say create new file, things like that. Certainly you can pull it off by just directly throw things up here. The downside is if you do it that way and things go wrong, or you want to go back to the previous commit, it might be difficult to do that. So that's why you want to do it in a collab or you want to do it in a VS Code, things like that. Okay, so this is now up and running. Let's see if we have any errors. Oh, great. So you can certainly type in whatever sentence you want, right? For example, I've been on international flight. Can I come back home to my 1 month old newborn? And then you have a URL, right? This is a URL we've been talking about. We just need to hit this button. And then let's see what's going on. So it's going to say validating URL. And then hopefully it gives us that JSON file, right? If it gives us the JSON file, then we have a good idea. It's good to go. Boom, there you go, right? So now this function is up and live, and you can interact with it. And you can also know what's going on, right? Uh, Let me do an experiment, right? Let's say I am typing something that's very much related to what this link is talking about, right? I'm not saying coming back home to hold my newborn, right? Let's say I am indeed traveling with my infant. Let's say I am talking about that. If we can get the star higher, right, like 3 star, 4 star, 5 star, then we are pretty confident that this function is doing what it's supposed to do. Does that make sense? So let's try that experiment. So what we're gonna do is say this. I want to go on a trip that involves flying. I have a newborn infant. I mean, you can say whatever you want. In this case, I'm just going to say newborn. You know what? I'm going to keep what I said, 1 month old newborn. Can I travel with this newborn? Right? Let's say I say that. What I'm hoping to do is once we press this validate URL button, the score gets higher, right? Instead of 2 stars, now it's 3 stars, something like that, because now I am indeed talking about what this link is saying, right? So let's try that. Validate URL. Let's see what this function gives us. Okay, there we go, right? Now we have 3 stars. The explanation is still sucks, right? We haven't updated that, all right? Obviously that can be something that need to be updated. I think the content relevance score is higher. That makes total sense because I am asking something that this website says, right? These two things are indeed talking about the same thing. So that makes sense that this is higher, right? So boom, there you go. If this score is higher, the star is higher, that means this URL now it's closer to what this prompt is talking about, right? But the other thing still is not that good. Bias maybe not that good. Citation doesn't really have any because this is the blog, right? So all those logic still is intact, right? And you can test out this function this way, and this is a good showcase of what this function is doing. Cool. Let's stop right here, and then I hope that this video give you guys some basic tools to put together a Hugging Face app, just like this. And then you can then take this link, right? And then basically submit it, right? Another way to do it is you click on this 3 dots on the top right corner, right? 3 dots here, this one. And then you can rerun it if things go wrong. If you say rerun it, it will go to the original state, right? This is the original default question that we had, right? And then if you click on these 3 dots on the first row, also on the top right corner, I know it's a little confusing, but my cursor is pointing at the 3 dots on the very top, right? You can actually say embed this space. And then this, you can actually throw that in pretty much any HTML page, right? So what's going to happen is you can take this direct URL down here, which is essentially the same URL here. You can just copy it. Now you can go to an incognito, and then you can paste it there, hit enter. Guess what? Then this is a live app. Now this app is live on the website. Anyone with this URL is then able to interact with your class object that you just defined, right? You hit the validate URL, you will say it's running, and after it's done, it'll give you this. So that this is a public service now, right? Anyone that's been talking to a chatbot, that the chatbot says, oh yeah, I've gotten your answer, your response from this whatever website, whatever page, well, they can come to your app and verify it. They can verify if it's 2-star or 3-star or 4-star, so that they can get a somewhat okay answer with a certain rationale behind it, that this reference link that whatever chatbot they're using is giving them makes sense to the question that they're trying to ask. Okay, so hopefully today's session give you lots of tools to showcase what you can do with your class object. And then last but not least, click this link, and then you can close out all these things. Let me move this here, and then you can go to your submission form, and then you can just put it here if you want to. Then that will be a good indicator for me that you've done something here to showcase what you've done. Or another way to do it, if you want to maintain this original repository, you can then go to your README. So let me go to the main repo. Let me click on the code. Let me fire this up by clicking on this button, and it will fire up the VS Code. You can throw that in a README file. So once it's fired up, let me show you what I mean by that. You can go to projects, project 1, deliverable 2, and then you can add a README file here if you want to, or if you just want to keep things simple, you can go to project 1 README. Literally all you gotta say is the app is uploaded to this Hugging Face URL, and then just put it here, right? That's it. That's all you need. And then after that, you can just commit it, right? Say git add, git commit. You can say comment being added in README file, and then you can say git push, and then boom, you're done, right? This is updated. You can then go back to your GitHub repo and go into projects, go into project 1, go into the README file, and then this app is here, right? So now all of this makes sense to me. You can then take this link and then go ahead and pretty much just submit here. Then I can go on this link and I will see, oh yeah, this makes total sense. You've tested the script here in a Python environment. You've now built an app and uploaded this code that you just developed onto a public domain so that you can serve the greater good, right? Your function is out there. Anyone have any question about the reference that they saw on ChatGPT or whatever, they can come up here to test it. Okay, so we can probably run another example. So I'm gonna open this link, and then it's gonna say this app is like this. Great. Now what I'm gonna do is go to ChatGPT, do a search, right? For example, I can say travel with infant, and then since this is a search, it's probably gonna give me some sort of links, right? Now, these links is going to be a little bit different from Google links because ChatGPT doesn't have the same licensing and partnership with Google search engine, right? So these links might be a little bit different from what you saw on a Google search. So that's why we're here, right? That's what we're talking about, right? Which one is good, which one is bad, right? That's what we're talking about. So not to worry, that first link, it's whatever web page that's from CDC. Well, hopefully that's a good web page. But exactly how credible, right, this source is, right? Now, of course, you can read it yourself and have your own judgment. Please do that, and that's very important. But we have a function here that we can test it out, right? So let's take these three words, travel with infant, right? That's a question I'm trying to ask, and then we can put that here on a query, and then let's just grab the first link, right? Copy link address, and then let's just put it here, right? That's what we just saw from ChatGPT. When we say validate URL, hopefully this gives us, I don't know, 3-star, 4-star, 5-star, right? If it gives you only 2-star, then maybe something's wrong, right? Maybe it's not quite same as what we're talking about. So that's the basic idea. It takes obviously a lot of iteration. You might also have opposite of opinion, right? You can say, well, this is a pretty credible. I'm reading this right now, and I think this makes perfect sense of what I'm trying to say, right? Great. I want you guys to have that feeling. I want you guys to have difference of opinion, and we're gonna come back to talk about that next week to see how to resolve that. And there is a way to resolve that, right? There is a way to look at these scores and change these final answer, right? But that takes domain knowledge, and you won't have domain knowledge unless you try out different links, okay? But not to worry about that for time being, just worry about getting this app out of the door. And then next week when we come back, we're gonna figure out how to do that. So thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next session.